Namaste. So we've already got a little bit of a reading of part of this in here that we loaded up that we did a while ago. I think it was chapter 10, telepathic volation. It was back quite a few months ago, about March time, not long after being out the psych ward. So it's a bit of an interesting one. But this is our healing journey. This is what we do to heal, and we're sharing at the same time. So William Walker Atkinson, 7 books on mental power and thought force. Thought force in business and everyday life. A series of lessons in personal magnetism, psychic influence, thought force, etc. Memory culture, dynamic thought, thought vibration, mind power, mental fascination. A timeless wisdom collection book. There's 3 of these. Look how big they are. The Timeless Wisdom Collection. Ralph Waldo. Wow, we went out with someone when we were younger called Waldo. It's not, we forgot about that. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Consider what you have in the smallest chosen library. A company of the wisest and wittiest men that could be picked out of all civil countries in 1,000 years have set in best order the results of their learning and wisdom. The men themselves were hid and inaccessible, solitary, impatient of interruptions, fenced by etiquette, but the thought which they did not uncover to their bosom friend is here written out in transparent words to us, the strangers of another age. TWC is your small library, and this book was chosen as part of this carefully selected group of works, all by men and women whose lives were committed to enlighten the world with the wisdom of the ages. Enjoy." William Walker Atkinson, 1862 to 1932. He was one of the most prolific authors of the New Thought and the occult during the early 1900s, although he also wrote incessantly on success and motivation. Throughout his career, he published over 100 books, many under pseudonyms as Yogi Ramasharaka, Theron Q. Dumont, Magus E. Cognito, Edward Walker, 3 Initiates, Swami Panchatasi, and Swami Bhakta Vishita, books that continue selling and influencing people today. Not just one pseudonym, there's lots there. I wonder the purpose of that. This volume collects 7 of his wonderful books on mental power, thought force, and mental fascination. We're just curious because we're learning. It's got 2 little people up, a thumb, which is the like symbol with a 0, and then it's got 2 little people and a 1. Does that mean there's someone watching? Because we didn't think anyone would be watching, and we don't understand how they are, if they are, or what that means, but we're guessing there is. If you are watching, lovely person, do you mind commenting so that we can learn? And hello if you are, and if not, then hello, number 1. So we're just going to do the introduction. Contents. Are you ready? The Timeless Wisdom Collection. My Working Creed. Book 1. Thought Force in Business and Everyday Life. Preface. 1. Salutatory. 2. The Nature of the Force. 3. How the thought force can aid you. 4. Direct psychic influence. 5. A little worldly wisdom. 6, the power of the eye. 7, the magnetic gaze. 8, the volic force. 9, direct volation. 10, telepathic volation, where we started. Probably where we'll continue off from too. We don't do things in order. 11, the adductive quality of thought. See, we don't know a lot of these words, so we've got to learn, but we know adductive because you've got abduct and adduct. I don't know, something to do with yoga and the parts of the body. Character building by mental control. The art of concentrating. The practice of concentering, which is 14, and 15, valedictory. Book 2, a series of lessons in personal magnetism, psychic influence, thought force, concentration, willpower, and practical mental science. About this book. Preface. Lesson 1, salutatory. Lesson 2, the nature of the force. Lesson 3, how thought force can aid you. Lesson 4, direct psychic influence. These are exactly the same ones, but lessons this time. Lesson 5, a little worldly wisdom. Lesson 6, the volic force. Lesson 7, direct volation. Lesson 8, telepathic volation. Lesson 9, the adductive quality of thought. Lesson 10, character building by mental control. Lesson 11, the art of concentrating. Lesson 12, the practice of concentering. Lesson 13, valedictory. Book 3. Oh, this will be a good one, I think. Memory culture. 2 great words put together. 1, and it just got better in our eyes, the subconscious storehouse. 2, attention and concentration, which is actually, I think that's the 8th limb of yoga is samadhi, self-realization. The 7th limb is dhyana, meditation. So it's the 6th. It's the 6th limb of yoga is concentration, actually. 3, acquiring impressions. 4, eye perception and memory. 5, exercises in eye perception. 6, ear perception and memory. Interesting. 7, exercises in ear perception. 8, association. 9, remembrance, recollection and recognition. 10, general principles regarding impressions. 11, the cognitive system of memory culture. 12, the 10-question thought system. 13, memory of figures, dates and prices. 14, memory of place. This is going to be the man, you know, Patty, today, no more. Yeah, I think this is going to be very healing for us, isn't it? Our memories functions and not in a best way, and our internal processing model is very deaf, blind and dumb, we call it. So this is going to be a perfect book for a lot of our alters and the connections of the brain networks, and so the correlating networks in the body. So this is going to be great on our healing processing. So 13, memory of figures, dates and prices. 14, memory of place. 15, memory of faces. 16, memory of names. 17, artificial systems. It's definitely going to be good because I can feel the energy building and a release happening. So we may just suddenly go off on one. If you want to join in and sound and hum and buzz and shake, then anything you have in you of similar frequencies will get cleared too. You don't have to join in. You can just watch and think, what the hell is she doing? It will still work because that's our intention that we put through with all of this, and a lot of it secondary to why we're doing it. We think it's primary to why we're doing it. But we have to abide by the same rules that we put on others. And one of the rules we put on others is everything that anyone says or does is for themselves and to make themselves feel okay. But that's for a later date of understanding. So yeah, we're on the edge. So there might be another word down here because we're so in alignment that will trigger this, just to explain now as we feel it coming up, because we're learning to understand how we're feeling and what's going on to preempt this when it happens. Well done, us. Book 4, Dynamic Thought. Well, I think that is dynamic thought, because people, you've got the light language, haven't you? Just, which I think we do. It's when you talk and it's not words, it's just stuff coming out made up, like it sounds like a foreign language almost, but it's individuals speaking from their senses. So I suppose it's when kids make up a language, but they call it light language as well, and you can kind of channel through information from ancient Egyptian cultures, Lemurians, I'm going to say the Aztecs, I don't know, Aztecs, Atlantis, Anunnakis, etc. And one of our ways of learning and catalyzing is there'll be a question or someone post something and we'll like write a comment, which doesn't happen too often, but when we do, suddenly there's this just all that comes out, and then that's what we print off and we read back and trace up to see that's how the altars communicate with us. And someone described it once and said, oh, thank you for sharing your thought language. So we're guessing it's a similar process to light language. We have a processing language disorder, which is a rare form of dyslexia, which is the miswiring of the brain, and that's what we're rewiring so that things make sense more, because there's sometimes each altar holds information, and so we have to sidetrack between things to get to things to make sense. And yeah, we can stop now, I don't know what we're talking about. Dynamic thought, book 4, or the law of vibrant energy. A forward. 1, in the beginning. 2, things as they are. 3, the universality of life and death. No. The universality of life and mind. That's why we have to keep looking at the book and we can't make eye contact. Plus, we don't like making eye contact because we don't see you, we see us, and it's weird. 4, life and mind among the atoms. Oh, we like atoms. Yeah, you do, don't you? 4, life and mind among the atoms. 5, the story of substance. 6, substance and beyond. 7, the paradox of science. 8, the forces of nature. 9, radiant energy. 10, the law of attraction. 11, the theory of dynamic thought. 12, the law of vibrant energy. 13, the riddle of the Sphinx. 14, the mystery of the mind. 15, the finer forces of the mind. 16, thought in action. That's us. Book 5, thought vibration. The law of attraction in the thought world. Forward. 1, the law of attraction in the thought world. 2, thought waves and their power of reproduction. 3, a talk about the mind. 4, mind building. 5, the secret of the will. 6, how to become immune to injurious thought attraction. 7, the transmutation of negative thought. 8, the law of mental control. 9, asserting the life force. 10, training the habit mind. 11, the psychology or the emotions. 12, developing new brain cells. Yeah, we're developing lots of new brain cells, aren't we? And getting rid of a lot of old ones too. 13, the attractive power, desire force. 14, the great dynamic forces. 15, claiming your own. 16, law, not chance. Book 6, mind power. About this book. Publisher's forward. Sitamana. Yeah, it's just got a lot smaller, hasn't it? It's a bit weird, isn't it? 1, the mental dynamo. 2, the nature of mind power. 3, mentative induction. 4, mental magic in animal life. 5. Mental magic in human life. 6. The meditative poles. 7. Desire and will in fable. 8. Mind power in action. 9. Personal magnetism. 10. Examples of dynamic mentation. There's don't know what that word is. It must be something to do with the mind. It's like we're feeling like it's cross between meditation and meditation and mental. So I don't know if it is. 11. Dynamic individuality. 12. Mental atmosphere. 13. Channels of influence. 14. Instruments of expression. 15. Using the mentative instruments. 16. Mental suggestion. 17. 4 kinds of suggestion. 18. How suggestion is used. 19. Induced imagination. 20. Induced imagination in India. 21. The ocean of mind power. 22. A glimpse of the occult world. 23. Self-protection. 24. Indirect influence. 25. Mental therapeutics. 26. Mental healing methods. 27. Mental architecture. 28. Making over oneself. 29. Mind building. Book 7. Mental fascination. Preface. 1. What is mental fascination? 2. Mental fascination among the animals. 3. The story of mental fascination. 4. The reconciliation. 5. The rationale of fascination. 6. Impressionability. 7. The fable of the mentative couple. 8. Experimental fascination. 9. Experiments in induced sensation. 10. The phenomena of induced imagination. 11. An inquiry into certain phenomena. 12. The dangers of psychism. 13. Oriental fascination. 14. Future impression. 15. Establishing a mentative centre. 16. Personal atmosphere. 17. Direct personal influence. 18. Eye expression. 19. The fascination of the eye. Iridology is a therapy using the eyes. You can tell what's going on in every organ, like reflexology, where you massage the feet and it affects every organ in the body, and each organ has a part of your foot, etc. For instance, your large intestine and your small intestine, you've got your right hand, your large intestine goes up and across, and then it goes across and down, and it's like that on your feet as well. So all your hands, your feet, your head, your face, they all have, and your ears, they all have reflex points, and you can access and tune up and get fit and align all your whole internal organs and all their systems through these reflex points and yoga and all kinds of stuff. It's amazing what the body's capable of with self-healing. No idea where we were then. But I'm going to start with 7. I know we've done 7, but I'll start with 7 again. The fable of the mentative couple. 8. Experimental fascination. 9. Experiments in induced sensation. 10. The phenomena of induced imagination. 11. An inquiry into certain phenomena. 12. The dangers of psychism. 13. Oriental fascination. 14. Future impression. 15. Establishing a mentative centre. 16. Personal atmosphere. 17. Direct personal influence. 18. Eye expression. We were near the end, weren't we? 19. The fascination of the eye. 20. The use of the mentative instruments. 21. Concluding instruction. The Timeless Wisdom Collection. Emerson once said, "Consider what you have in the smallest chosen library, a company of the wisest and wittiest men that could be picked out of all civil countries in 1,000 years. have set in best order the results of their learning and wisdom. The men themselves were hid and inaccessible, solitary, impatient of interruptions, fenced by etiquette. But the thought which they did not uncover to their bosom friend is here written out in transparent words to us, the strangers of another age. TWC is your small library. Thousands of individual books and anthologies, the best of the best in fiction and non-fiction from the 19th and 20th centuries, written by men and women whose lives were committed to enlighten the world with the wisdom of the ages. And we're committed to sharing the wisdom of the ages. Oh, bless you. Our fiction features names as Hemingway, Faulkner, Wells, Orwell, Huxley, Doyle, Twain, Burroughs, Chesterton, Alcott, C.S. Lewis, J.M. Barrie, Edgar Wallace, and hundreds more. Authors who have enriched our lives and forever enlarged our capacity to dream, to get enamoured by the characters, to suffer their pain, tragedies, and triumphs as if they were ours, as if they were true. In self-development and positive thinking, our authors include Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, apologies if that's pronounced wrong, Dale, Charles Harnell, William Atkinson, Orison Swett Marden, Wallace Wattles, James Allen, Christian D. Larson, Florence Scovel Shinn, Robert Collier, and many more. In psychology, we have the works of Freud, Jung, Coyet, Adler, and many others. And in philosophy, the words of Kant, Russell, Whitehead, and Ayukon, among others. In theosophy and mysticism, our authors include Blavatsky, Bulwer, Besant, Leadbeater, and Sinnett. We feature the works of scientists as Eddington, Darwin, and J.W. Dunn, successful industrialists as Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, and Charles Schwab, and economists as John Maynard Keynes. Thousands of carefully selected masterpieces that have brilliantly that have brilliantly captured the essence of life are now being placed in your hands, the results of the learning and wisdom of the greatest minds set in best order. As Emerson would say, books for enlightenment, learning, illumination, that will provide the seeker, the one who is ready and paying attention, some of the deepest answers to life. Mauricio Javes Messen, author of 12 Laws of Successful Entrepreneurs, Think Success, and The Knights of Nostradamus. William Walker Atkinson and the New Thought Movement, a biography. New Thought represents the fusion of Greek and Eastern ideas, and it has a philosophical and transcendental part, a religious part, a self-help, self-reliance, personal development part, a self-healing part, etc. William Walker Atkinson is one of the broader representative of the movement, as he was involved in basically every part and manifestation of it. He was born in Maryland in 1862 and began working life at 15 in his parents' grocery store. He married at age 27 and became an attorney in Pennsylvania. While he gained material success as a lawyer, the stress and overstrain brought him to a complete physical and mental breakdown that ended in a financial disaster. That is when he found New Thought. In the late 1880s, he claimed that applying these principles, he restored his health, mental vigor, and material prosperity. Open brackets. A very similar story is portrayed in a novel or story. wrote under the pen name X, The Inner Secret or the Something Within, which was only recently attributed to Atkinson. The importance of this story is that the main character is guided to illumination by an English initiate who had expended many years in India, close brackets. He then began to write articles on the truths he felt he had discovered. His A Mental Science Catechism appeared in Charles Fillmore's Modern Thought in 1889. By the early 1890s, Atkinson moved to Chicago, and then a major centre for New Thought, and became an active promoter of the movement as an editor and author. By the early 1890s, Atkinson moved to Chicago, and then a major city for New Thought, and became an active promoter of the movement as an editor and author. Did we just read that? Oopsie, maybe, I'm not sure. We tend to do that. If we did, apologies. If not, it needed to come out twice. Or whatever, you know what we're talking about. Shh. In 1900, he wrote his first book, Thought Force in Business and Everyday Life, a series of lessons in personal magnetism, psychic influence, thought force, concentration, willpower, and practical mental science. Okay. Soon after, he met Sidney Flower, a well-known New Thought publisher. Apologies, my cat's on the table, so that's why the camera's wobbling on our webcam. We will get more professional or efficient or whatever soon. We keep getting it out, but our brain doesn't work to sort it out yet. Soon it'll happen. Start again. Soon after, he met Sidney Flower, a well-known New Thought publisher and businessman. Zendaya, you're wobbling our camera. Do you mind getting down to clean or laying still, please? Is that okay? Yeah? You clean down there or lay down and be still, and then our camera won't wobble. Thank you. No? Worth a try. Soon after, he met Sidney Flower, a well-known New Thought publisher and businessman, and in December 1901, he became editor of Flower's popular New Thought magazine until 1905, and a very prolific writer of dozens of articles in the magazine. Later on, he was a regular contributor to Elizabeth Towns' magazine, Nautilus, whose importance to the movement was paramount as it promoted some of the prominent middle generation authors as Wallace Wattles, Orison Swett Marden, and Atkinson himself. Throughout his subsequent career, Atkinson wrote and published over 100 books, and it is here where you come to his bibliography, included in this book, that you understand how versatile and prolific he was. He used several aliases. That's a pseudonym, isn't it? He used several aliases that helped him take on the different branches of New Thought without the need of mixing among them. He wrote he became the utmost authority in personal magnetism and personal attraction through his French alter ego, Theron Q. Dumont. He was the most influential author on the Eastern philosophies, karma, reincarnation, life after death, seership and prophecy, etc. Through his Hindu alter egos, Yogi Ramacharaka and Swami Bhakta Vishita. He sounds very similar to us, like you maybe. He even became, and still is, one of the most respected masters who ever lived on the occult and the arcane. And here he wanted to be even more mysterious, using pseudonyms as X, Magus Incognitus, the three initiates, and even Anonymous. To write such works as the Kabbalion, the Arcane Teachings, and the Secret Doctrine of the Rosicrucians. On personal power, he authored a comprehensive series of 12 books with apparent co-author, Edward Beals. It has been determined to be another of his aliases. On financial success, he used this same alias to write The Law of Financial Success, and so on. He wrote on self-healing, psychic influence, even philosophy. He decided to stay apart from the Christian side of New Thought, although he respected the progressive Christian beliefs held by most of his colleagues and deeply believed in God. Open brackets. A God that was a universal presence and not the conception of a limited God held by any man. As he wrote, close brackets. He preferred to stay away from this subject. For that, he thought, there were others like Ralph Waldo Trine on Christian D. Larson. He died November 22nd, 1932. Rest in peace. That was only 5 days ago. And 88. 5 days ago and 88 years ago. Interesting. In Los Angeles, California, at the age of 69, after 50 years of successful career in business, writing, alcoholism, and the law, and a life surrounded by mysteries, including his own death, open brackets, which some believed he faked, close brackets. The number ones are going on our heads now. Can you just go back a bit so you don't distract us reading, please? His writings continue to be read and cited and copied and followed a century after they were originally written. They have not lost one day of actuality. In fact, as humanity has evolved, as he foresaw, they are beginning to be finely understood by a few of those he called his fellow students. My working creed. I believe that the mind of man contains the greatest of all forces. That thought is one of the greatest manifestations of energy. I believe that the man who understands the use of thought force can make of himself practically what he will. Yes, the younger ones are some of the younger ones that don't come out are saying that that's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing. I'm not comfortable saying that so much, but it is what we're doing if we're honest. I believe that not only is one's body subject to the control of the mind, but that also one may change environment, luck, circumstances by positive thought taking the place of negative. I know that the I can and I will attitude will carry one forward to success that will seem miraculous to the man on the I can't plane. I believe that thoughts are things, and that the law of attraction in the thought world will draw to one just what he desires or fears. I believe in the gospel of work, in hustling. I believe in the I do as well as the I am. I know that the man who will take advantage of the power of the mind and who will manifest that power in action will go forward to success as surely and as steadily as the arrow from the bow of the skilled archer. I believe in the brotherhood of man. I believe in being kind. I believe in everyone minding his own business and allowing everyone else the same privilege. I believe that we have no right to condemn. Let him who is without sin cast the first stone. I believe that he who hates is an assassin, that he who coverts is a thief, that he who lusts is an adulterer, that the gist of a crime is in its desire. Seeing this, looking into our own hearts, how can we condemn? I believe that evil is but ignorance. I believe that to know all is to forgive all. I believe that there is good in every man. Let us help him to manifest it. I believe in the absolute equality of the man and the woman. Sometimes I think that the odds are slightly in favor of the woman. I believe in the sacredness of sex. But I also believe that sex manifests on the spiritual and mental planes as well as on the physical. I believe that to the pure, all things are pure. we've just had a major sensation down our left plank, side rib. Yeah, that's really good news. I believe that man is immortal, that the real self is spirit, which uses mind and body as its tools and manifests itself according to the fitness of the tools. Yes, we're getting the tools fit, aren't we? We ate sausages, some meat for the first time in a long time the other day. Oh, it made our body odour stink. But I remember when we started, I suppose, it's when we were living in the caravan before our self-converted van, and we could have just got out of the bath and be fully clean, and our body odour repulsed us. So interesting what the body does when it releases all the toxins to get this amazing bioorganic tubular computer of a vessel, fit, like this book's saying. I believe that man is rapidly growing into a new plane of consciousness in which he will know himself as he is, will recognise the I am, the something within. I believe that there is an infinite power in and of all things. I believe that, although today we have but the faintest idea of that power, still we will steadily grow to comprehend it more fully. We'll get in closer touch with it. Even now, we have momentary glimpses of its existence, a momentary consciousness of oneness with the Absolute. I believe that the greatest happiness consists in maintaining towards the Absolute the attitude of the trusting child, who, feeling no doubt of the parent's love, no doubt of his wisdom, places his little hand in that of the parent and says, "Lead thou me on." I believe that he who feels towards the Absolute the trustfulness of the babe, which places its little tired head close to the breast of the mother, will also be conscious of the tender answering pressure as the babe is drawn just a little closer to the mother's heart. William Walker Atkinson. We're loving it and want to keep reading, but we've got to do it in chapters and we get carried away. So when we come back to this book, because we've already started in chapter 10 and done that reading, we're going to there's this pattern that we do which comes from stuff we've watched on the Fibonacci sequence and the spiral. And if you take any two numbers from the Fibonacci sequence, which are two numbers apart, so if the Fibonacci sequence, let's say, well, it starts 0, 1, but we put 0, 1, 1, but we put a 0 and a 1 to the side, and we'll start with 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. So if we were to take, let's say 8, because it's easy, and that's our number and our master guide. If you were to take another number, second number to the right, it would be, you've got the next number 13 and the next number is 21, so it'd be 8 and 21. But they always say to the right, and that gives you that almost a third, 0.32 blah, 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 which is almost a third, which for us brings in the law of thirds with photography. So we use this pattern for a lot of things, but we also do it the other way. So if you were to take 8 and take a number 2 to the backwards or to the left, it would be 3, 8 and 3. So it's like, so if you've got with the chakras, for instance, we'll start with the heart chakra. To take 2 this way, you've got the heart, which is green, blue for the throat, and indigo. 2 up would be heart and indigo for this one. 2 down would be heart and solar, heart and orange, the second, sacral. But we've also learned somewhere else that to support something or to make something stronger, you take the one below it. So to make the heart stronger, but what's below, if you're upside down, below's up here. So to make the heart stronger, our conventional understanding is below to yellow. So you use the yellow to make the heart stronger. And or if you reversed it, you could take the blue to make the heart stronger. So our pattern is, for instance, we've started with number 10. We'll make number 10 stronger by going back to number 9 and then take 2 steps forward and go to number 11, because that's that whole phrase, 2 steps forward, 1 backwards, whereas we're generally 2 steps backwards, 1 forwards. So yeah, we started with number 10 and we'll go to number 9, direct relation, next time, and then we'll go to number 11. And if you are sticking around with us, I don't know if that is a person watching or not, but if you are sticking around with us, we love this book, and we're just about to read the introduction of this book. The Light of Egypt, The Science of the Soul and the Stars, Volume 1 and 2 by Thomas H. Burgoyne. Really sorry about it. Zendaya, please, can you do that somewhere else? Thank you. This is where we got our name from. So we're legally changing our name as a way to another way. There's a multitude of ways that we're tools and ways that we're using to change our tubular body vibrational frequency to heal from the early childhood trauma and the generational trauma line that's in our DNA. And one of them is to leave our father's surname behind and take our mother's maiden name. And she, I think it was suicide. She was found washed up on a beach when we were 4. So, and actually changing our birth given name. So our birth given name's Neve Deborah Coleman, and we're going to put that all away. We're going to take our Native American Indian name Snowflake, which they gave us when we were 2, apparently, when my mum took me out there. And this is where we've got the first name, Zanoni. So it's Zanoni-Snowflake. And then my mum's person is Purcell. Zanoni Snowflake Purcell is going to be our new name. So yeah, we got that from this book. So we're going to read that book next if you want to stick around. So thank you. Bye. Namaste. How do you finish it? Oh yeah, down there.